battle to the line as Lewis Hamilton really pushed there by Max Verstappen over Red Bull. Very exciting race there indeed. Top of the table was Lewis Hamilton of Mercedes, then followed by Max Verstappen of Red Bull. Then third place came Valtteri Bottas of Mercedes. Valtteri Bottas getting an extra point, having registered the fastest time of the whole race. Congratulations to the winners. The next 2 weekends we'll get to know who comes up at the top. Remember, that was the first leg of the Formula One season. A lot expected and many asking, can Lewis Hamilton get an 8th world title? It's a matter of time. Remember, as mentioned earlier on, Kenya's Shujaa taking to the pitch in the semi-finals of the Dubai Emirates Invitational Tournament, where they're taking on France. Currently, Japan locking horns with Argentina. Argentina leading by 5 points to nothing. We'll let you know as that match progresses. Tough indeed. Kenya's Harambee Stars, congratulations, at least getting out with some pride, winning their last match 2-1 against Togo. It was expected of Harambee Stars, but lots of off-field intrigues coming up. Michael Olunga, Ian Otieno not getting the nod, but we will be talking about that later on. Remember, as told you earlier on, at exactly 4 p.m. it is CAF Champions League match, and it is SV Club Vita taking on Sports Club Simba. Oh, very interesting match that's coming up. Remember, this time round they've been given the nod. 10,000 fans in the stadium allowed for this. It promises to be interesting. So book a date with us at exactly 4 p.m. after this, where that match will be coming live. Well, one of the biggest sporting events in the world is normally the Olympics. That is the ultimate point that every athlete would want to be in, whether it is in football, it is athletics, it is badminton, name it, any sport. To be an Olympian is always every footballer's, every athlete, every, hockey player's dream. But this time round, there is another, group of participants in this. This will be the second time that this team will be taking part in the Olympics. We are talking about the refugee team that normally takes part. This is a special team that normally goes under the banner of the refugee team. They go, they run on their own and different countries, but with a special color of uniforms. Interesting indeed. We are privileged and honored to be joined by the chef de mission of Team Kenya to the World Olympics, who will be representing the refugee team. This is one lady who needs no introduction when it comes to matters athletics. She was the first African to win, the New York City Marathon. She was the first African to have the women's world marathon record. Her resume is so rich that, introducing her can take so much time. She also holds, records for the 25 and 30 kilometers and previously held world marathon record, the first African between 1998 and the year 2001. 3-time World Half Marathon champion, first African to win the New York City Marathon, and now she is the chef de mission for the world, for the Olympic refugee team. This is none other than Tegla Loroupe. Needs no introduction in matters athletics in the country. Tegla, nice to see you and karibu sana to the studio.
Thank you very much.
Well, first and foremost, I hope you're keeping well. We are in very tough times, COVID, being the talk of the time, but we hope you're keeping well as well, and of course the entire refugee team.
I'm sure everybody is keeping well, and because this virus we don't see, it's something that we just pass by, but we pray good, and we try to stay safe as the government also have told us to be very realistic and be safe. Yes, and also our refugee athletes also, they try to stay safe. As we talk about our refugee athletes, they are the children of Kenya, because we are under umbrella of our nation, and they train together with the Kenyan team.
First and foremost, before I even introduce the athletes, because it's good that we have them here with us in studio. Before I even introduce them, How did you end up to have this refugee team? Did you apply with with the Olympics body, that's the IOC, or how did it come about?
Well, I get a lot of the same question as you are talking to me about how did it come. As you know very well that I come from West Bogota in a very conflict area. When I started our event in Kapenguria, most of the refugees anyway, when they came from South Sudan during the war, some of them stayed in our village anyway, and I've known them for a long time. Not the new athletes, but those the refugees themselves, including the late Dr. Karang and Salva Kiir and Riek Machar, came to Kapenguria, and I know them. And therefore, as much as we used to train, I used to say, okay, I go to Europe and you come back, you find these athletes are just staying there. And they call them like, these are bad people. It's like when I was also recorded during my time when I was running, that Tegla cannot represent the country because she's a Pokot and she comes from a Wharton community, and therefore she's not a good person. And for me, I did not go for war, but the stigmatization that came along, I realized that I was not in a good mood for. I say that at one time I would like to have this athlete go to, at one time, international competition, but it happened that Dr. Thomas Bach, of which I was training in Germany, was also in keen with what I was doing because he used to support me. But finally, when he became the president, because he had also this vision like myself, he told me that I would love to have a refugee to participate in Rio 2016. And that's how I came to realize I have somebody to support the work that it was in my heart.
Well, I mean, as we talk about that before I introduce James, in studio, you've brought in a very good angle, about refugees, about conflicts and stuff. Before that, before we came on air, you were talking that this pandemic could just be a blessing in disguise, because by the end of the day, we might just find ourselves forgetting about conflicts and thinking about humanity, and peace becomes the order of the day.
But you know very well that when this pandemic came, it did not come to Kenya alone. It started to the other side of the world. And therefore, people came together to realize that we are human and we are looking for survival. And the stigmatization of being a refugee disappeared because everybody is looking to survive. And therefore, it's kind of like, okay, this disease, okay, we lose lives. But at the end of the day, we know that God is the one who can protect us, and we are vulnerable people, all of us, whether you are a refugee or you are a Kenyan or you are American or you are European. So we are all the same.
Well, interesting indeed. We are all the same. The last time you took the team, which was in Rio, that was the last Olympics. How did the team perform, and were you, impressed, being that was the first time that now you can afford to, take a team to the second Olympics?
When you come with idea that it's not in people's mind, you think that you are carrying a fragile egg. And I want to thank the Kenya government because they supported this initiative. Also our National Olympics and Athletic Kenya, because they gave a place for this athlete to train. And not forgetting also UNSHR, who allowed the athlete to come to train with us. Those are the people that have been with us. And also IAAF, because they gave us opportunity to see our times. And of course, IOC as a sponsor. When I took this athlete to Rio, we did not know that people will receive us. Of course, you have this name, refugee. But when we came to Rio, there was a lot of negative about the Olympic in Rio, because there was this disease called SARS, and there was so many things. And here the refugees, nobody want to talk about refugees. But it became a blessing. When we came there, people supported the refugee, and you were welcomed very much. What do you expect when you get a letter from a Pope and you get a letter for congratulations, of course, from our government, that is Uhuru, who gave us congratulation letter. We got also a congratulation letter from Obama.
Well, I mean, when we look at some of those pictures that you can see there on the screen, Tekla, these are, some of the yesterday pictures, and I can see the, very good memories that come to you. How do you feel when you see such pictures?
I feel overwhelmed when I see that I was able to give open space to our athlete, and also that I see them as my brothers and sisters. Like I see the Kenyans, the way Kenyans received them is the way I received also. And I pray that also now that they are not refugees, they are athletes, and they are fighting to be top.
Well, I look at all this and I'm so impressed, Tekla, so impressed because the first time you took a team to the Olympics, I remember before that we had you in studio with James Nyak, and James, 800 meters, was looking forward to rubbing shoulders with some of the greats, the Rudishas of this world. What do you think is the message to the entire world when we look at all this, the message out there about refugees? Because the word refugee alone comes with a lot of stigma.
Okay, the whole world should also respect the people called refugees, because there is something you learn from them, the resiliency. These people, they travel in a very dangerous place, and they still put their heads high. And therefore, today, my brother, when you lose, you don't get your mobile, you start to cry, you want to die. And yes, because you are just dying because of few small things. But when you talk about the life that the refugees, even their children, they have gone through a very difficult situation. They can go without food, diseases, but they're just still holding them. And therefore, there is something we have to learn from them, that we should not look at them like they are a burden to us.
We will be going, before we go for a short commercial break, I'm looking at the main thing that comes out there, the word refugee. This is as a result of conflict that happens out there, and the message to the world is we can avoid all these conflicts, because by the end of the day, we are one, global community. You know what? If people only can just contend to what they have, they greed. That's what makes people to displace your people, makes other people to use youths instead of making the youths to go to have education. So conflicts comes because some kind of people, they want to have power, and if the whole world will say, okay, I do not want to go and disturb African because of their oil or because of their resources, let us contend with what we have, so that we do not displace a human being as if God did not create them. If we just contend, if people can fear, like now we are fearing corona, we could be the best people in this world, and they should not be refugees. Well, we should not fear, it is the main thing. Now, let's talk about the preparations, about what to expect. We are in tough times. I know you are in a bubble right now, training. Do you think the environment is conducive and they are taken as brothers and sisters as they are in camp? Well, the virus came for everybody, and therefore our athletes were training with Kenyan, especially like last year. And when the issue of coronavirus came, so they had to go to Kakuma, and therefore you have to understand, you go to Kakuma or Dadaab, the place where they train is not like the Kenyan that when they go home, they still have a high altitude. You can go and train in the morning and you come back home. The training has become very tough, but anyway, they shoulder. And when the government opened their doors, they came back to training camp, and now they are trained together with the Kenyans. It's not only about the refugees that they have problems. It's the whole world today that we are facing, and our athletes in the whole world are facing the same challenges. And therefore, we pray and we need to stay healthy and to finish this virus so that we can go to Olympics. Well, we need to stay healthy, build up on this so that we remain healthy. We will be engaging the athletes themselves. When we come back after this short commercial break, they will tell us what can we expect. But first, let's go for a short commercial break. Welcome back. That was a short commercial break. Reports are coming in the Emirates Invitational Tournament. Remember, Kenya was taking on France in the first semi-final, while Japan was taking on Argentina. Japan beaten by Argentina. Kenya losing to France 17 points to 5. Tabu with the consolation try that the conversion went wide. So Kenya gets to play the third and fourth playoffs against Japan. We will let you know what time and how that progresses on in our subsequent news bulletins if we don't get it by the time we wrap up the show. Before we went for the break, we were talking about the world refugee team to the Olympics. This is the second time that they are going on. We've been talking to Tegla Loroupe, who is the chef de mission of the team that will be going to the Olympics. And of course, Tegla needs no introduction. The first African woman to hold the world marathon record, no mean achievement, and of course a three-time world half marathon champion. Not forgetting that she is among the best when it comes to road races, the first African to also win the New York City Marathon. She's been so passionate about peace resolution, more so in conflict areas, and also now joining us. They've been looking at Tegla all this time and waiting for their moment. James Anyaka, 800 meters run. James also will be making his return to the Olympics, and Angelina Nadai also with us. Let me first introduce Angelina. Angelina, good afternoon and welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. James, nice to see you again. Karibu sana as well.
Thank you, sir. Asante sana.
Karibuni. First of all, James, this is your second Olympics, 800 meters. The last time we spoke, you were so excited about rubbing shoulders with the best in 800 meters, and David Rudisha was your target. Were you satisfied with your performance, and what are your targets going into this year's Olympics?
Yeah, actually, I was so happy to be in the team last time, and as well, I'm waiting for it. And first of all, I really appreciate, when we are with these top runners like Rudisha and the rest, we feel happy. Now we are trying to make sure that we get the good result that we needed, and as our mother always push us, and even the coaches, we are trying to see how we are going to be in the Olympic and to do the good job as she wants.
Interesting there. Rubbing shoulders with the best will always give you that motivation to be the best, because you want to fly, you must flock around where birds are, and a good statement there. Angelina Nadai, very interesting to be an Olympian. It's something that everybody would want to. Looking forward to this Olympics. We are in tough times, COVID-19. Are you psychologically prepared that Liwe Liwalo, we will ensure that we are there and we will give it our best?
COVID has become a big epidemic to everyone all over the world. But that one, it should not discourage. We have to stand firm and get ready for it. As long as we're able to follow the procedures that we have been given by the government, it will take us well, because if we don't treat it in a way it is supposed to be, then it is going to also to treat us in a bad way. But only focusing and do the right thing, we will manage to overcome it.
Tegla, how does this make you feel when you hear, your athletes, very positive? They know that the pandemic is not just a Kenyan thing, it is global. And the first thing is respect protocols, and you will be, in the right frame of mind and remain psychologically very focused for the task ahead. How does this make your work as the chef de mission? You don't have to chase them all the time because they know what to do.
When our athlete came from at the beginning, they didn't understand how sports you have to be there all the time. Now you see Angelina and James talk about the rubbing shoulders with the grade. And now they have to understand that now they have to train. And they have to follow procedures, as Angelina said, about COVID. And therefore, psychologically, they are more strong. and they say okay, liwe liwalo vile umesema, they have to train, and Olympics is tomorrow. And also Olympics not only for the problem is not only for the refugees, but the problem is for everybody, and therefore it gives them also a strong motivation whereby nobody will stigmatize them. But now the virus is stigmatizing everybody, and therefore wanasema whoever have the strength can take the lead. And I'm sure that our athletes are working, and also we treat one another as a family, because every morning we have to call, how are you doing, how is the training, because you never know. This pandemic is something that you don't see, and therefore we pray and we have to follow the procedures. And the coaches, both Kenyans and of course our coaches from Kenya and our coaches from the refugees, they train together, they call together athletes and put a program together. So it's kind of like, let's fight together. Yeah.
And before I go back to the athletes, Tegla, is the door closed? I mean, if there is any refugee in the country who believes that they have what it takes and they have the stamina and they really feel that this could be an opportunity for them to to have a stab at the Olympics, is the door closed, or how do they get to reach you so that they can be part of it?
For sure, I think the doors are not closed so long as we still have trials, but now competition has become very scarce because of lockdown, and therefore movement. If it was like before, you could be having an athlete in the camp, in the Dadaab or Kakuma training, and they can go to this AK meetings and they can qualify. But now restriction because of movement, it has brought this hardship to the athlete, and therefore those who are already in their camp, they concentrate. As I told you that we have one athlete from Congo from our camp who is in Kasarani, given opportunity by our National Olympic, by our chairman Paul Tergat, and was like 3 weeks ago before the lockdown. And now when they lock down, those people in Kasarani, they are there training there, and they cannot come out. No. If you go out, then they lock you out. But they have to stay inside there.
Very positive indeed, and that's what they call a bubble. Everything that is happening remains in there. Once they lock the bubble, you cannot be able to move. What the bubble means is where they spend their time in the training, their movement in terms of logistics. It is the same personnel, and nobody leaves to go home. You all reside in the same place. You get to train, you come back. It's like a complete lockdown where you are, but you remain focused and you continue with your training. That's what Tegla is talking about happening at Kasarani at the moment for the teams that are getting ready for the Olympics. It happens that if it happens, you walk out, then ideally you are locked out of the entire plan. Who would want to be locked out of the Olympics once you're in the camp? Not anyone. James, we are looking at 800 meters as one of your specialities. It is a race that normally has a lot of intrigues and a lot of pushing and shoving. Many athletes always say, let's get to the final, then we sort out issues. Getting to the final normally is the biggest agenda. What's your target as you look at the Olympics this time round?
Well, to me and also my team, our focus now, even if although there is this problem of pandemic that has come, our target is to get a good results and first to go to Olympic. That is the first step. Then the second there, when you reach there, you have the main thing that take you up to Olympic is to do well and to make sure that maybe you may reach to the next stage. That is what is in our mind. But the first thing now is to concentrate on result, to get the correct result and get to Olympic. And then the rest will follow.
As we look at the rest following, still with you, James, does, being with these other, guests put you under any pressure when you are with, Ferguson Rotich, for argument purposes, you are Ferguson Rotich, you have the great King David here in the country. Looking across Africa, you have Nigel Amos from Botswana. Do those names send shivers to you anytime you hear them and you're getting ready for during your training or in a championship?
Actually, these great guys, they give me motivation. Last year, around January there, we met with David, and he talked to me about the training, asking me how are you doing now, how is the training. Then I explained to him. He told me push harder, because this competition is not that easy. Then Ferguson, of course, I've been with him always. Last year we compete in a Kipchoge Keino Classic, yeah, which was good. I've seen so many great people that have been with them, and I feel strong. When I saw them, I feel happy, because these are the guys who have experience in athletic. They advise me to move on, to forget about what happened in the past, and that is what I like from them, because they know how life have been, throughout the years, and athletic is not that easy. You have to, if you are not pushing, you will not make it. So you have to be strong and forget about the past, what happened behind, so that you can move forward.
Well, being strong mentally, physically, critical, and also, focusing on what you're doing and not looking back at war-torn areas, etc. Angelina, your race, one of the most interesting, 800 meters, but let's focus on the 1500 meters. At the moment, you are in great shape. When we talk 1500 meters, the great here in the country, Faith Kipyegon, when we look across the border, Sifan Hassan, many argue hot favorite in some of the races. How does this make you feel as an athlete? Because there is so much, as James says, you focus and not look back at what's happening back at home, because if you do that, you lose your focus, and you could just be the unifying factor when it comes to bringing the country together, because at some point everybody will say that is our own, and all the focus will be on you.
For me, I believe it's only the hard work that can make you to be a better person. You cannot desire, or you cannot demand to have something when you don't work on it. Faith, I know she's a strong lady. I like the way she ran, the way she compete. She used the whole power to compete. She loved the way she do things. The same thing to her son. I always watch them, the way they compete, and I love it. But for me, the first time I met with them in Rio, I could not tell who is better and who is not better. But by the time we go to the starting line, that is the time I can recognize who is more powerful. But that could not make me to lose hope. I knew that if I go back, I will only put my best. I will go and train harder and be able to compete with them. Nothing can limit me. I only believe in the hard work, that no matter what, no matter the challenges, no matter the condition that we are facing, we can still work on it. And one day, one time, any of us can qualify as the refugee, because now we are representing so many refugees all over the world. So it's only my hope that we train harder, no matter the COVID, which is affecting the whole world. We train harder, and if one of us qualify for the Olympic, that one will be the whole happiness for the world refugee, because we represent so many people, whereby we open all the doors for them, so that any refugee who is in any country, anywhere, who have talent, they can training, knowing very well that there's a door for them, and the opportunity they should be given to them.
Wow, very good piece there indeed, Angelina. My director tells me I need to start getting final comments because of time. Angelina, there's somebody looking at you right now, a refugee, you know, maybe in the country or across the borders. What message would you give them as we look at, you know, forward to the Olympics right now, looking at you and maybe saying, when I grow up, I would like to be like Angelina?
Okay, I believe right now I'm a role model already after coming back from Rio, because many of my colleagues in the camp, they ask me a lot of questions. How did I make it to Rio? What happened there? I explain to them, I give them the hope that the door is open for all of them. They should just only have hope in whatever they are doing. The word refugee is just a status. It does not, no one was born with it. And no one wished to keep the name the refugee. Refugee is just a status that it can disappear anytime. Once when you work out on it, or like, okay, in sport, if you do well in sport, if you do sport can challenge, it can change someone's life. In fact, it has changed so many lives. Maybe the only thing that I can tell the rest of the people that they should not lose hope. Being in the camp as a refugee, one time, their life can be changed.
Fantastic. I mean, sports can be used as a unifying factor. Director tells me I have 2 minutes and I have to split these two between James and Tegla. James, what message would you have for anyone watching you right now and maybe looking at you as a role model in 30 seconds? Yeah,
what I can just tell them, especially the refugees, everyone have a chance. They should not lose hope. If you know that you have that potential, come out and try it. And I'm very sure from 2015, when our wonderful lady Tegla Loroupe and the UNHCR and the IOC, they came up with this wonderful project, it shows us that there is a way for everyone, you know. No matter where you come from, no matter the challenges that you are facing behind, but when you put effort, I am very sure God will not disappoint you. You will move on well, and believe yourself and believe God, and have that respect for yourself, and you will move forward well.
Believe in God is a very key statement there from both James and Angelina, giving you all that you need to know in terms of this. Tegla, you have the final word in less than a minute. What would your parting shot be now as the chief de mission of Team Kenya, and of course to peace in the entire country?
My comment to the whole athlete all over the world, be it refugees or normal athletes, let's stay safe, observe the protocols, and let's run away from drugs so that you can run free of drugs during Olympics or any other event that comes. Also, well wishers, support the foundation so that you can do more to support our people who have displaced, has been displaced in their community, and that's the refugees. And therefore, I just want to wish everybody all the best, and thanks to those who are supporting the Tegla Loroupe Foundation and our refugees athletes in Congo. And thanks to the Kenyan team who have put us together as a family, and not forgetting UNHCR who have come in as a team, and IOC and Kenya Federation and National Olympics of Kenya and IOC. And of course, our government as a general, because they have protected us and gave me they have given me the faith to take the refugees in our training camp.
When you go to the Olympics, your color is white?
We will be running under IOC flag, and that will be white.
White?
Yes.
Well, a very, very important aspect there that Tegla has brought in terms of appreciating all who've been supporting this, and of course appreciating the faith that has been given to her and the confidence to put this team together and ensure that it happens. This is the second time that they will be heading for the Olympics. The first one was in Rio, where they went and they were recognized. This time around, pressure is not there at all, because they've been there rubbing shoulders us with the best in the business. Thank you very much, Tegla Loroupe, Global Spokeswoman for Peace, Women's, and of course, Women's Rights and Education, first African woman to win the New York City Marathon, the first African woman to hold the Women's World Marathon record. Not forgetting James Nyaka, who is 800 meters athlete. Angelina Nadai also with us in studio. We appreciate and wish you all the best as you continue with your training and of course as you go to the Olympics. Up next, we'll go into a short commercial break. When we come back, we'll be talking matters. Harambee Stars William Muloya is in studio, not forgetting Captain Fantastic Kenneth Muguna. Don't go away. We are talking matters Harambee Stars after this short commercial break.